Pole position. The Yamaha in 7 years. Maverick Vinales did the business here in Australia. It's a superb start from second place into the Durham corner. Acosta immediately up in 1-2 once again.
Another pole start, as you said, Paquette's out front, pull an advantage out, so the long lap's on.
On the 10 factory Honda going through the Miller corner. 8th.
Gian Antonio is up one into 9. Aprilia, but Pedro Acosta.
On pre into the first of his 2 long motoGp races since Marc Marquez all the way back in lap 2 of 27. Down in
the onion screens. Bezzecchi now in the next 5 laps out of his window of the first long lap. So even if he served his
16, just saw him blitz Marini down the garden. There's a bit of a gap emerging here already, isn't it, between Bezzecchi.
Scenario for Bez would be to come out of his first long lap in wayward. So Miller 5th from Alex Marquez for the top 10.
How on earth is Paul Espargaro tried a former Moto2 winner here? Just
so the gap from Bezzecchi back to Ralph really turning into a rather familiar experience. To be expected into the rest of the field, a 28-0.
Little pony underneath him there. He's got a big twitch on the... And when you're on top of the fastest motorcycle in his 6th gear, it was easy as you like to take seconds.
Because the rider ahead of him is going to take a long lap. Well, how hard he is to pass.
Bezzecchi stuck down in a very lonely 18th drift of Bezu, just trying to build long laps.
Yeah, look at this pack behind him. Clear tarmac ahead of him to try and maximise his pace, but he's certainly going to lose the lead when he comes through the loop.
That medium rear tyre, again, he's in the 27s. How much is he already overcooking that medium of time? Looking at our comedy box window, we're going to pick up nigh on 1.3 seconds here.
5 laps to play with. He's now gone through 3 targeted laps.
Yeah, do choice. His hand was forced by the good news as far as Aprilia are concerned, isn't it? This is where Bezzecchi made the big mistake.
You see there was 28.4 on the last lap, which was this lap actually. Bezzecchi's lost some of his advantage.
Back in the 28s, yeah, and Ralph Fernandez was faster. Fernandez, not a great lap for that from Marquez behind him.
Turn 1 in the gravel trap. So now a bit of a head shake there for Bez, just to show how hard he then takes the lead of the Australian Grand Prix. Acosta.
Fabio Quartararo, now they go through to Siberia. On that first lap, this is going to be a big old get-off as that front. Just look at the big dark line he leaves, Joe, and let go of it. He finally done it. That's a nasty old get-off. So then Grand Prix, having raised the roof to get himself, that was almost like a rain crash, wasn't it? Miller, as he attacked into the Durham corner.
He says that's why he's been practicing that all weekend. He's going to drop back somewhere near to Gian Antonio.
Group was taken out of the equation as far as Alex Marquez and Miller. Miller, though, down on that lap pit wall, just making sure that they know exactly.
He'll come in, so we'll see maybe through there on the next lap. Leads from Pedro Acosta. Neither have won for 3.5 years.
Yeah, and he's close, or former close pal, Fermin Aldeguer, obviously the Aprilia, carries through 12. That's through Stoner corner, turn 3, through sort of 7 high-speed change of direction. Ducati GP24 in the hands of Alex Marquez behind.
Over to the right-hand side of your picture, here he comes into the long lap. He then rejoins behind Digia in 6th place.
And ahead of him are 2 Ducatis. Not very often you're going to see an Aprilia out-drag at the remaining here in Phillip Island.
We can actually see it now on the left-hand side of the screen. He's 2.8 riders up ahead of him to overtake. Behind 10 people, we're not seeing any sign of coming forward progress from you.
Yamaha is almost stripping the paintwork off the Sorrow. More bother brewing here as well. For quite out of the southern loop is the 72 bike, 2 seconds slower than Digia, who's now ahead of.
Stuck in traffic. Cash in, make A1.
What was the last time? And now the Gian Antonio from me, now in P4.
He was in the 27s last 3 so far. Of course, he has leg sprint station on his shoulders now.
That second get back into contention, trying to come from a long, long way back here. Not
about the jack on the grid. It's not the long laps themselves slower than Ralph Fernandez, the leader.
I was going to say Aussie Sunshine, not quite so front of this Grand Prix. Into Miller corner we go. By and lunge through, going through turn 7 up. Just shows how good that move was by Did. Fernandez is about to have a lead of over 1 point.
From Bez in Indonesia, of course, made a dreadful scares almost immediately. So he needs to be patient.
So we'll have to pose the question of if it's the same. Segura takes 15th place, the final points going for his best lap of the Grand Prix. Richard Bezzecchi in 6th place. I mean, Bagnai's pace.
He doesn't understand it. Ducati don't understand it. I don't know what chance by 1.5 seconds over Acosta. Digia and Bez, perhaps the threats further.
Right on board with the Italian once again. Quite loud to Gian Antonio to power on through. Luca Marini's getting dragged back into this battle. It might be Mir who's plummeting down the ODS, so it's going to be a 12th DNF of the C circuit. 127.782, still in the 27s.
So Alex Marquez after his crash somewhere in the fourth set for Mir. So Alex Marquez to finish second in the, if he can somehow get
at the top of that trail is Marini, who have missed a couple of Zarco and Mir have been jumping off the RC2 factory Honda so far in 2025 at the moment.
Scruffy lap on this one. He started the lap 3/4 of a second and he's now reversing back towards Fabio Di Gianantonio again as Marini now just eases past.
That was because of an errant front tyre choice by Quast, riding out of his skin once again, isn't he? All to 7th on Sunday, just as he did.
And Espargaro continues, Fermin held again, but Acosta's now upping his pace. He's now
Acosta in those first 9 to the win, getting back in those 27s. That rear tyre's going to hold out underneath him. Previously the only rider in those 27s.
A second and a half. Alex Marquez rebounding 28 flats and just keeping them at arm's length. Surely he's going to follow through momentarily.
Sitting as far as the factory Yamaha star is concerned. Top 10, because as you can see just behind him, Quattararo running, Alex Rins and Enea Bastianini also. Enea is a 128.2 from 20th up to 12th, and
because he seems to have great race pace, just nothing in practice. Since the second long lap penalty, he came at half distance. Is that just too big a
injury? The reigning world champion hanging over his head, and it does look like that's going to Quattararo. Surely, very Yamaha being reeled in quickly now by both Bastian.
To him, he's watching riders breeze past him on the menu. He's going to do the same, and then all 4 KTMs will be
the best lap of the Grand Prix once again. Another 120 through on Pillipe, and that's been a pretty tough ash. Davide Brivio looking on. Suzuki, is he about to be a race-winning team manager? Al Fernandez, this would be some
moment showing no signs of dropping off. Just to see if there's any sign of any sort of drop-off. Bet on the penalty of the 2 long laps.
Acosta suck the fight to the front of motoGP right now on that fact. This is in now on the brakes into the Miller corner, because he's so darn hard to overtake. Alex to take second.
Well, it was Alex who was one of them. So Pedro Acosta at the moment, though, don't know how he'll fake his first MotoGP victory before he does.
We're looking at Ralph Fernandez and wondering if there's going to be a real left field gamble put in the really in terms of the tyre choice at the front of this Grand Prix. On the brakes into the Doohan corner, Acosta up on the outside of Acosta. Alex could do into Macama. Tranquilo, Alex.
Well, listen, it's in 4th place. Acosta wide through Stoner corner. Acosta, and he's now clear into 2nd place.
Or 2nd and 3rd for Gianantonio. Acosta in that now 3rd place. Maybe him ruining that double long lap. So many people thought he grew Stoner corner to 2nd.
Yeah, as it stands, he would fight enough to secure 2nd in the championship today. Bet ones matching to Gianantonio, and Acosta in danger.
For the first time in this Grand Prix, timing screens is Lorenzo Savadori on the fastest 11.
With that Yamaha, because he is falling quickly.
Position to a frustrating 7th. Thinking that was going to be the option that would. Now in P12 is Quattararo. Morbidelli, who's currently in 14th at the moment.
On this lap, Alex Marquez with clear tarmac. He does a 28.2, so he barely took any time out. 10 laps, so you can do the maths, he can lose. And it was an opportunity for just about everybody.
He's the fastest rider on circuit, but this is short. And now piling the pressure once again on, as he did last time out in Mandalika. If he is coming out of Siberia, was Luca Marini on this PB lap of the Grand Prix, 128.0 with Marini's Honda.
It's Gianantonio, 23, a strong 4th, which was an equal best of the adores the Phillip Island circuit. Finally broken. No, that KTM strong enough.
Costa into the Doohan corner is 3 seconds over the line. Was Fernandez's advantage through Stoner corner. On the brakes now into the middle portion to still be on this MotoGP grid. Sad after that stellar campaign fighting, but he's had his struggles on a vastly empty from what would be a big goes down the hill into the 1st gear turn back into P4.
Can Gianantonio get KTMs and Hondas? So is Pedro.
Yeah, he's just running that little to the southern loop, and that's allowed the Gianantonio Secchi 2.8 seconds. So Digia is front wheel going into Rins.
Marini and Alvaro are still having their back. He can just clear that Honda. He did a 28. Marco Bezzecchi, who we now see on our screens.
Slightly without the 2 long laps from the Aprilia in Marco. The underdog in many respects, falling off a cliff like Martin did a couple of streams. Some draft behind Acosta's KTM. He's not
still doing low 128. There's been no better to come on the soft rear tyre, in fairness, but they say, oh, hey, Martin.
Well, for the first time in 5th of a continuation of what's been a rather banger podium for the first time in over 4 years, as right now he's still doing a Jorge Lorenzo style performance, hasn't it? T6 MotoGP starting in the last fortnight. Where has this riding and delivering on all the promise and potential that we're
seeing? Pedro Acosta's about to see some more pain. Oh, no, he does just about get it. Stopped down into difficulty. His life was going to be today, and his fears.
Try to You want him in your corner when you Mendes, as you can see, long gone up the road. Resist this onslaught coming from Bez. Under 2.8 seconds, the gap between Fernand. Class move that by Bez. So that might fall.
And probably as bad as it's going to get for Pedro. Luca Marini, Fermin Aldeguer's pace is really traversed back towards a Kate.
Yeah, has finally got through on Fabio Quartararo. Typically some pride and some confident, perfectly respectable pace this, as far as...
All doing mid-29, so there is still some points.
He's taking second. I was going to say he's taking second on this lap. Quartararo, did you love by the Gian Antonio? Is it all and the Gian Antonio when they cross the line? The twitch there for Alex. You can see that he's running into some late grip. 3.1 second deficit.
A black line on the rear tyre. Is that Ralph Fernandez just fight off any kind of nerves that Ralph Fernandez was so comfortable, so supreme when he was certainly doing that.
You can understand why, perhaps. Hence, it's so difficult to muscle some gusting breeze around as well. Breather from Ralph Fernandez.
Some pride from this Grand Prix, but
going from bad to worse, don't they? As far as to Siberia, he had just the wind factor, was the fading grip. It's a forlorn Pecco back in 2025. Looks like he might be dropping back into the clutches of Bez here.
Bez is still doing 28 zeros in 4. He's breaking clear of Alex Marquez now, so there's definitely much time out of Ralph Fernandez on the last lap. But 3:10
around the head, isn't he, after a poor qualifying? It's been the Aprilias here this weekend. It was the way through to 5th in the sprint. Here this afternoon, it looks like far too much to do coming from Rose.
Special 2 here in the remaining lap and a half. Back on top in motoGP. They are also faith that not everyone felt was
probably the last time an American team was victorious. There's a massive time swing between Australia for a mission by Bez.
Don't want to worry, Trackhouse. 9.187. He's got 1.8, just over 4.5 miles to go.
In this beautifully to the checkered flag. Marco, as Bagnaia is concerned, surrendering 3rd. Yeah. Vote for your rider of the race. There's a few contending times, hasn't he? With Yamaha, with Suzuki.
Has 3 more corners to go. Any MotoGP victory, but the first MotoGP.
And it is the phenomenal for Trackhouse Aprilia. What a... The Gian Antonio fights his way through from Costa, 5th over line. Marini back inside the top.